Hey, 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 beautiful people. I'm back again, and we are going to be talking to the beautiful, wonderful Lucy C. Del Gaudio. We're going to be talking to her about all the amazing things she's doing in the community. She is a veteran advocate. She is also featured in an I Am Vanessa Guillen documentary that is actually came out this year. I will be going to the screening coming up. Also, she has been she has been a big advocate for disabled community. She's a big humanitarian. She's done a lot of work with the Pink Beret and many other things. She's worked in shelters and just supporting people and been a big mentor and inspiration to a lot of people working with policy and really putting in that work to make sure that people have their rights, especially women veterans. So we're going to be talking to her today. And like I said, we are doing Women of Impact. These are women that are doing amazing things in their field, in their industry. Remember, this is going to be a diverse group of women. We had Rachel Allen earlier today, and we talked with her, and we have more women coming this week. And this is just to spotlight women on this platform. You can log on to lushradioonline.net. You can see the live sessions, or you can check on the Facebook. We have them on there. These are live, but you'll also be able to see the playback. Once again, behind me, you see She Wins Network, empowering women through their journey. So it doesn't matter what part of the journey your life is. We're always going through different journeys in our lives. So you could be a housewife. You could be transitioning from a different job. You might be in schooling. You might be a CEO or a leader. So this is a sounding board for women to come together to empower, uplift people. We share grants. We share information to help you better yourself. The group is inside of Facebook. We are working to create our new website to centralize everything because we don't know how social media is going. So you can check it out there. We have a lot of things that we are going to be doing. We did a conference, the unconference. We're working on intimate dinners to bring those back, to bring power players together so we can network and give some more awards. But She Wins Network, you can follow us on IG, She Wins Network, everywhere. And join the movement. We want to make sure that you win, because when she wins, we all win, right? So we believe pouring into a woman, we can allow her to blossom and grow, because we can't do this stuff by ourselves. And like I said, we are going to have the wonderful Lucy here with us. It's going to be amazing. I'm excited. So we're going to have her live on here with us, and we're going to be talking to her about all the things she's doing. And before Lucy joins us, we're going to pull today's affirmation. We pulled an affirmation earlier, but we're going to pull a new affirmation for today's segment with Lucy. With Lucy. Aha, aha, aha. Oh, today says, I actually pulled two today, so I'm going to read two of them. Turn this music down a little bit. Like I said, we're going to have Lucy in the building. She's going to be talking to us all the amazing things you're doing. And if your birthday is this month, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. I think this is Aries season, right? So shout out to the Aries. Also, still shout out to the Pisces, because we're celebrating the whole entire month. I'm a Pisces. I'm celebrating the whole entire month. Today's affirmation says, I let me be still today and listen to the truth in silence. It says, let me be still today and listen to the truth in silence. Sometimes when we speak too much, we don't listen to the truth. Sometimes when you're doing intentional and deep listening, we can hear someone telling you about themselves. Sometimes we don't want to see the truth. But if you sit in stillness, you can see the truth and the things that are right in front of us. It also says, I celebrate my progress. Awareness, not perfection, is the goal. I celebrate my progress. Awareness, not perfection, is the goal. Sometimes we're always talking about, it has to be like this. No, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough, and it already is. Celebrate the small wins. The small wins lead to the big wins, right? And sometimes we're so busy we forget about small wins. So, like I said, we're going to have Lucy live in the building, and we're going to be talking to her about all the amazing things she's doing. And also, earlier today, the other affirmation I pulled was, I am growing through every experience. No matter if it's good or bad, we are growing through it. It's good to be comfortable. I love comfort. I love snuggling up in my cover, but we can't grow from there. So even through the roughest times, we're able to grow, learn from it, and change and adapt. Adaptability. As we're changing, as society is changing, we're learning to change and grow, and looking at what's this new version of ourselves. And where's this flower at? I'm gonna bring this flower out to show you. Flower out to you and just let you know that you are blooming, right? You're blooming, you are changing, and you are becoming. So embrace it. Embrace the new you. And sometimes, you're not going to always have the same people in your circle sometimes. And that's okay. Because as you empty your cup, more things are going to come your way. You no longer have to chase anymore. You're not coming from a place of lack because you have everything that you need. You just got to sit down and look around and see your resources. So once again, we're going to have Lucy live in the building. And don't forget to check us out on every platform. It's She Wins Network. Check us out. And you can also join She Wins Network. Our group, it's on Facebook. It's a closed group. But like I said, we are building the website, and it's coming to you soon. And don't forget, every last woman that we interview, make sure that you're checking out their websites. Make sure you're checking out their social media platforms, and make sure you're supporting them, because you know what? Women need support too. So, and our allies. So we're going to have the wonderful, the amazing, the extraordinary Lucy in the building. We're going to go ahead and run this real quick, and we're going to have her live in the building with us. All right, you all. She is a humanitarian, a veteran, an advocate. She's featured in a new documentary, I Am Vanessa Guillen. And she's doing amazing work at veterans' homes, working with the Pink Beret, doing amazing work. Even the archery program with the disabled archer, she's doing, and she runs marathons, man. So she's going to be live in the building with us. Let's go ahead and bring in Lucy. Hey,
Hey, how are you? How's everything?
How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing my thing.
Well, you look amazing. So excited to have you here today.
Thank you. Let me see if I can get this camera moved. So I'm in a, okay, that works. There you go.
That's a cool place.
Yes, I'm at work right now. So
okay.
I snuck into one of the conference room, my lunch break, and I said, let's do this. So
okay. So we won't hold you up too much, but we wanted to grab you because you're doing amazing work. So
thank you.
So Lucy isn't, she's been a guest several times. So talk to us. You've been down there. The VA has changed its old slogan that we've been waiting for. It's the change. You're in a new documentary. So many things are happening. Talk to us.
I mean, there's a lot of things going on for women veterans currently in the space. There's a lot taking place. I mean, I wasn't involved in the whole motto. I was part of, um, some of the discussion, but I have to say the work was really lifted by Lindsay Church from Minority Veterans of America. They did one of the most aggressive pushes with other organizations like IAVA and others that really were instrumental in bringing that to life. But that inclusivity that motto is now bringing, it's definitely welcoming everyone into the doors of VA, and where before it wasn't, and now it's really something that's monumental. I was honored to be there when Secretary McDonough read that. So it was really intense to be there and to watch that motto change. It was very moving to be there at the Women's Memorial in DC last week and to hear those words spoken the way they were.
Definitely. I think it's amazing because it's long overdue. We've been waiting for that change because it's been because the VA has mostly been catered to mostly males at that time, and with the introduction of women, joining the military and serving and taking care of women, we've been fighting for this change, and it finally happened. So it's a monumental historical moment.
Yes, it is because it's really funny. We still face that when we go into
Yes,
the VA. A lot of people make the assumption that we're there as a caretaker and not there as
yes,
the actual veteran. So that does definitely bring a different light to everything. But yeah, so that's something going on. Again, military sexual assault, sexual trauma keeps on popping up in everybody's radar, especially with the recent
yes,
death in Fort Hood yet
yes.
again. So, yeah, a lot of conversation there. You know, Fort Hood doesn't have a good light right now, but just sexual assault and sexual harassment overall. A few weeks ago, the DoD released their findings yet again about harassment and assault claims that are taking place. The military service academies are at a high, the highest in recent times, and one for them to say that 1 out of 5 women that are serving in the service academies are being either harassed or assaulted. That's shameful. And we, as advocates, really have to open our voices and stand up for this cause. But I mean, we are so much has been done the last 2.5, 3 years, and we just now it's about accountability. And we've made a lot of changes in legislation, but now how is the DoD going to step up their game and keep this command climate accountable for what's taking place? But also, at the VA, there's still people that also say they get harassed when they go through those doors. So how do we change that climate there? And I'm honored to be part of the VA work group for sexual assault, sexual harassment, and making changes of how you actually walk into the door and not get harassed or the potential of assault. But when it comes to the actual DoD and these injustices that are still taking place, we really have to activate together, especially on the eve of, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So how we could all coalesce around that cause and how all of us could stand up.
Yeah, that it's interesting. You say that because it takes a village. I mean, we can't do this by ourselves. And we thank you so much for the good fight you've been doing. I know it's not easy. Every day is a fight, and then there's pushback. And and some people don't understand, like the VA and DoD are two separate entities, even though they should kind of, bridge together and work seamlessly, but it doesn't work like that. And DoD, I don't know how many times, we have to continue going to them like there is a problem. Fix it. Don't put a band-aid on it. Fix it. Take the people out that are doing the wrong things, because Fort Hood is a big installation. A lot of people go there for military training before they go deploy. There's a lot of things over there. And if they don't take care of that, it's already, come on, you have a recent one. You just had one with Vanessa Gang and all the other bodies we found, over there. So, and it's had a bad rep. So how many times are you going to have a bad rep before you make change? But we don't want to put aside the change that has been made, because it has been swept up under the rug years ago. So now there's so much light being put and fire being put under. So hopefully there is change coming. Now,
I mean, there has
yeah,
been. I
oh,
mean,
yeah,
there's been slow change,
yeah, yeah.
and
Hmm.
we have seen some structural change,
Yes,
because of the laws that were put in place with the
yeah,
I Am Vanessa Guillen
yeah,
Act, but also it was really a reckoning for many of us,
yes,
because it was like that military Me Too movement that
yes.
took place when they found Vanessa, but
Hmm.
also, the work that her family did, the work that the
Exactly.
grassroots did, the work
Yes,
that many organizations did. We have seen some change.
yes,
It's slow, but
yes,
right now, again, it's more about the accountability of the actions taking place right now.
yes. Accountability is a big thing, and I definitely know and I feel that there will be some change. It's a long fight. That's that's the biggest thing. It's a long and hard fight. With that being said, you have the documentary that you're actually featured in. I know that was tough. Being on camera and stuff like that. How was that experience? And did that come about right after the whole, like, with the court hearing and all that stuff, or was it just kind of like months after? And how did that whole process go?
Honestly, I don't remember how that came up, but so what happened was, I testified in July of 2020 about to open the investigation of Fort Hood. We started the IRC and the independent review that the DoD called for. So there was a lot of actions taking place, and then one day I received an email asking if I could be interviewed for a documentary. Um, it was a process I went through. They followed me on runs. There was a lot of footage that they actually took that it was not put into the documentary,
Hmm.
but that it was very it takes a lot out of you, and but what was really eye-opening was that I didn't see the documentary till everybody else saw it. So I
Ah,
I really didn't know how much, was I going to be in it at all? Was I going to be, part of it? I didn't see a lot of the background of it till, everybody it was released on Netflix. But what was interesting was, it got released at midnight, and I was in DC for a meeting, and I woke up in my hotel room at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm there in bed like watching the documentary on my phone, um, and my heart beating because again I didn't know how I was going to be part of. I mean, I had seen the trailer, so I saw a little bit of me in there, but it was very interesting, the weeks after, and still, how people, I do get messages, hey, I saw you in the documentary, could you assist me here? um, and that's how I got involved with the Anna case, with Anna Fernandez case in Fort Hood. That's how her family actually reached out to me and said, we saw you on the documentary. Could you assist us? And that's how the Pink Berets got involved with the family. And we're still involved because we want to make sure that the family is getting their justice, and everything, the proper protocols are being taken in place for her. But what's really interesting was, and me and you talk
yeah,
offline, and we
yeah,
do our thing.
yeah.
But a few weeks ago, I actually like sat down with my family, sat down with friends, and said, I've had enough of advocacy, and I really was trying to like back myself out of veteran advocacy and taking like a small sabbatical and say, I want to unplug, I want to focus on work, I want to focus on other things. Um, So I was slowly taking myself out of different equations, and then this happened, and I was like, I'm right back in. so
You got-
so mentally, it is very draining.
Mhm.
I have to say, I've had my moments in the past few months where I'm like, I'm really, my anxiety gets on a high, and things to that nature. But I definitely went into self-care mode.
Mhm.
And then, like right now, I'm nursing a hip injury, so I haven't been running as much as I usually run.
Mhm.
So I'm really been using other components of my toolkit to make sure that I'm sane. Um, but I am doing I'm doing the New York City Marathon this year, so I'm trying to remedy my hip so I could start my training and get a few runs in, a few races in before the marathon in November. So.
Well, that's good. And I was about to ask you, I said, since you show up for everybody, what do you do for your self-care? And and you shared that, because as advocates, healers, or whatever industry, whatever you're doing in service, you end up giving so much of yourself. And refilling the cup for yourself is so important,
Oh,
with
and
the
true.
work
Let me
you
tell you,
do.
my cup was drained. I
Yeah.
mean, I was struggling to get a few drops in there,
Mm.
and people started realizing it too, because I wasn't being, my behaviors were not normal Lucy behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know what, I really need to take a step back. But I definitely still, my running is not as often. I'm not running at all. I haven't run in like 2 weeks because of this. I have a bursa issue, so
Mm.
I'm nursing my bursitis. But I'm still, my yoga, my meditating, my journaling, my
Yes.
therapy.
Yes.
But the one thing that I really put in place that I had neglected was boundaries.
Mm.
And you have to set boundaries, because when you allow way too many people in, then you really start to deconstruct. So I really had to say a lot of no, can't do this. No, I have to step aside. No, I can't do everything. And that's, I had to really set some boundaries and say no, which is hard at times
Yes, it
to
is.
say no, because you really want to try to help everyone. But I definitely had to set boundaries for my own self-care, so I could really just make sure that I'm taking care of myself.
And that's so important because as when we're natural nurturers, and also if we've dealt with trauma, we want to help people. We don't want people to go through anything. So, and then we sometimes get depleted. So, I mean, I'm just so happy that you set the boundaries for yourself and others, for your self-care. Now, people, there's a lot of young women now that are aspiring to be in leadership, because you're a leader in your job, you're a leader, and advocacy and other things like that. What kind of advice, if you can give them like 3 tiers of advice, what would you give them?
Oh God, that's a good one. Make sure that you are going into this in a passionate way. Don't do it because you're seeing others do it. Leadership is something that, I don't see myself as a leader. I see myself as part of the equation. But I feel that if you want to go into some sort of leadership capacity, especially in the advocacy space, make sure that you truly feel passionate behind what you are trying to establish that leadership communication to. Authenticity is very important to me. So really be true to your authentic self. Don't try to be another leader. You have to be your leader. You have to be you as a leader, not someone else and their what they have led and how you see. You don't replicate. Be
Yeah.
yourself. And really, again, create your boundaries as a leader. I try to foster leaders that are really, you know, being again their true self, and but make sure you're taking care of yourself as well, because if you as a leader aren't, talking and walking your walk, then you're not being a true leader. So that's what I try to instill in young women, because trust me, we as women of color, um, there's not a lot of women leading in this space, that are women of color, Latinas, Afro Latinas. We're very small subset to leadership roles in the veteran space. So we really have to take care of ourselves and be mindful of who and how we're leading, setting that example. So yeah, definitely trying to take care of myself so I could say that I'm really leading with being true to myself.
You're doing an excellent job, sis. I'm so proud of you. The growth and in leadership. As we change, society is changing, technology is also changing so rapidly. you know, um,
Yeah.
and speaking of that, what do you think about this whole change with the AI, artificial intelligence? I mean, I say it's a catch 22. Good and bad. What are your thoughts?
You see, I'm a weird social media person. Let's just say that, because I don't TikTok, because for me, if I went into it, I feel like I would go down some sort of rabbit hole that I do not want to go into. But I really try to preserve aspects of me that I don't need people to know about, you know what I
Mm,
mean? And, I love sharing like my t-shirts, and I love sharing, certain quotes, and I love to always share food. I always end up sharing some meal that I've created. But I really try to keep components of me off of social media. I mean, I of course I love sharing my granddaughter because,
she's so
she's
cute.
a total aspect of my life. But there's components of me that you don't need to know about. And
Hmm.
so social media and I mean, AI is something that, again, it's interesting, like as 80s children, and what they used to say AI was going to be, and now what we're seeing. I mean, I always go to like a Blade Runner type, type of thing, because I love Blade Runner, and I love certain that whole like futuristic, like I always go back to like reading 1984 and then living
Yeah.
1984, and then seeing 2001 A Space Odyssey, and going through 2001 and not seeing
Yeah,
Hal. I'm like, where
exactly.
the hell, why isn't Hal in my life? So it's really interesting, how, people portray themselves on social media. People, how we've become this social media culture. I mean, because this as well as I do. I'm an 80s kid. I grew up in the 80s in New York City, in Jersey. I'm going to the nightclubs. Like, I'm grateful that this stuff wasn't around, because
Exactly.
I mean, the stuff
What?
the stuff I did in like the limelight in the tunnel, nobody needs to know.
Yes, nobody.
And I mean, you know how it was. You know how
Yeah.
it was. So I'm grateful that there is like no pictures, no video. What's funny? I in high school, I don't know what possessed our ski club advisor, but we did a fundraiser, and I hope people from high school watching this going, oh my God. So we did a fundraiser for ski club, and it was a Jello wrestling fundraiser. Now, again, what possessed us? They never did it after we did it, and there's a video out there of us Jello wrestling, and I'm like, God, if that video comes out, I am screwed. And once in a while, I'll type. Now here, I'm really admitting myself and aging myself. I'll type on like social media, Union Hill wrestling, Jello wrestling, to see if it pops up, so I could try to like squash it, because I don't want you to see me at Jello wrestling, because but those are the things. Like, I'm not that beast of habit when it comes to the way social media. Again, I share music, I share my passions,
Hmm.
but I leave pieces of me out of the equation.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, AI in a sense is making some stuff simpler, like administrative, like little stuff or, research wise. But in a sense, they're still like, okay, somebody can take your whole entire identity and clone you, basically. So, it's
Like,
very
yeah,
easy to
it's weird that, like, say I look for, hey, I'm gonna send someone flowers, and then all of a sudden,
it pops
like,
up.
it pops up like, here's a boke and here's this, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, like, this is, it's weird,
Yeah.
it's really strange. Or you're looking for concert tickets, and then all of a sudden they're sending you everything.
Yeah. Or they're targeting you because they know what you buy on a reason, and you're like, I don't want to spend this money. What is
Like, don't send me, I don't want to know about Wannable. I don't
Yeah.
know, want to know about different
Yeah.
Skims. I don't, I bought Skims once, and now I'm like, it's like everything. So it's like, how do we even, go
Yeah,
that way? So,
it's excess. It's like influencing excess, but
but I am,
we
but what's interesting is I miss the simpler times.
yes.
I miss when I would sit in my bedroom window and my girlfriends would knock on my door and ring my bell, or I dated someone that would throw rocks at
Yeah.
my window
Hey,
to
come on.
tell me that he was downstairs. But when my parents, he didn't want my parents to know that he was outside, and he would throw,
Yeah.
or like that, your home phone number. Like, I still remember my number when I was a kid, my 201-941 number,
Yes.
those type of things. I miss that. I miss that innocence about,
The payphones, the beepers.
I walk, I take the path to come into the
Uh-huh.
city. I'm in New York City right
Uh-huh.
now. I could turn the camera so you could see what it looks like, from my window. And once in a while I walk from the path from the Macy's area to
Uh-huh.
37th Street, down Sixth Avenue, and there's still like those archaic payphones, and I wonder, I'm
Oh.
like, do kids know that this is actually like what you used to use? And then I start thinking about, my God, like the germs that used to be on this phone. And
You
like,
can't
remember
even
that,
imagine.
and it's like, I just think about that, like how we used to utilize certain things. But then you come into the city, and then there's only one Grace Papaya left,
Yeah.
and but Ray's Pizza survived, and
Yeah.
and there's a lot of things that are already, I'm missing. But I have to say that this culture that we experience, I think, made me who I am today.
Yeah.
Going into the military made me who I am today. My experiences that I'm able to share made me who I am today. And I think that's what I kind of like about doing the work that I do, and being able to share things with you like this, but also the experiences that I went through as a Latina, an Afro Latina in the military, the racial slurs that we experienced, the harassment that we experienced, the things, it was very culturally different.
Hmm.
But I think it makes us stronger in a way, but also, the mindset is very, very different. It was a different time, and the military ran differently. So
Exactly.
we definitely know. I guess, I don't want to call myself the one, we're the OGs, but we really were an older guard.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
It
It
was
was a
different
different
time.
way, but definitely was not acceptable to face what we faced as
Yeah.
women in the military. So definitely.
And we would never have been able to come out and do the stuff that we're doing now. So there is, a tremendous amount of change, which, like I said, we're just so grateful for you and the work that you do. And it takes a special type of person to do this type of work. And the last thing we usually ask is, if you can tell the younger version of Lucy three things, what would you tell her?
That's a good one. That's a good one. That I would tell her, a um, uh, that you did the right thing by listening to the music that you listened to, because you're still listening to it. That's number one. That's number one. Music is a very big part of my life. Two, that you're surviving. You're really doing. You're doing. You should be really proud of yourself. Because there was points of my life that I didn't think I was going to be living at this age, and you are living, and you're living a very, very good life with a really phenomenal family, a really great spouse, really great kids, and really you're doing really well. And three, um, I wish I would have take your education more seriously. I was a bit of a slacker, and I thought it was going to be the next Andy Warhol. So I lived this different life. I definitely would tell her, amp up your efforts, because it will benefit you in the long run. But I definitely, those are the things that, and just, I'll add a fourth, just you're doing good, kid. You really are. I really feel that I'm doing good.
No, you're excellent. You're a rock star, and we love you. And we're just grateful to be a part of you in this tribe and doing this amazing work that you're doing. Thank you for being you, Lucy. And
Mhm.
I wish you nothing but abundance and more blessings. And and we sending prayers and energy towards that hip. We can't wait to see you in the next marathon, and all the amazing work you're about to do in the future. And
Thank
lots of
you.
vacations.
Actually, my new job requires me to go all over the place.
Ooh,
I work for Essilor Luxottica, which is the company that makes eyewear. So that's why
wow.
the snazzy eyewear has come into play. So these are my Ray-Bans. That we own Ray-Ban. I've been traveling a lot. So like next week, I'll be in Vegas for Sunglass Hut summit. But I'm definitely exploring a different side that I used to be in the business end. I used to be in finance.
Yes.
And now I'm doing the very aggressive diversity, equity, inclusion work for this organization. And they've really given me the opportunities to really embrace that, diversity, equity, inclusion. So I'm very happy. So I have been traveling a lot. So yeah.
Okay. I'm going to be in Vegas from the 3rd to the 11th. So I don't know. We'll see.
No, I'll
Oh,
be home by then. I'm only
oh,
there
you'll be
next
back.
week. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I'm doing a few other traveling, like in May, June, July. I have a lot of travel coming up. And then,
Wow.
I have to head to Texas to do some work with the Pink
So Pink
Berets.
Parade.
Check out the Pink Berets, please. They're just a really phenomenal organization founded by Stephanie Gatas.
She's amazing. She's
She is.
amazing.
She is. We have the archery team now led
Yeah.
by Leah Corial, and we're doing really great work. We actually have our first galas coming up in September, and we have a new leadership team. Stephanie Merlot is a part of that as well. So we're really, amping up our ante in the Pink Beret space. So check us out.
Definitely. Make sure you check out the Pink Berets. Check out everything that Lucy is doing. I'll put the website for the Pink Berets so you can support what they have going on. They have plenty of amazing retreats actually for women veterans. So, take advantage of that. Check that out. Or if you know a woman veteran. And if
Yeah.
you want to
So
support, yeah.
Yeah, we actually have, we're running a Spartan race in Fort Collins in June. And then we have our regular annual retreat that takes place in the last week of October. And just stay tuned. So the application process is coming out.
Definitely make sure that you guys support it. And we're so grateful for you. This is amazing. I'm so happy you were able to join us today as a woman of impact, because you are impacting the world.
Mucho
Bye.
cariño. Love you. Mwah. Bye.
Ciao. Te amo.
Te amo también.
Bye. Love
Bye.
you.